What up, what up, what up, everybody? Happy Easter for those of you that celebrate it. My family doesn't because we have common sense. I'm just fucking with y'all. My father's side doesn't, probably because my father's the only one that's left. Everyone's dead in that family, and they are not going to rise again like Jesus did. Whereas my mother's side is much more religious, spiritual. They were raised Baptist in the heartland of America, Missouri and Montana, as Baptist farmers. So no matter how old they are, they still can't shake it. My mother is pretty spiritual, but she's more low key about it. It's more of a personal thing to her, which is what I hope all Christians, well, not just Christians, but all people who belong to a organized religion or a faith, spirituality, whatever. Let it be something personal. But I got to give a shout out to Jesus Christ. This is the day of his resurrection. Hey there, Jesus. I think you would have hated Christians. I think you would have bitch slapped them, much like you did the moneylenders in the temple. And you would be right in doing so. Shout out to Jesus Christ on his special day. He died on Good Friday, was resurrected on Easter, and then he said, "Peace, I'm fucking out of here." But it was all part of God's plan. God's plan was to send himself to mankind and then sacrifice himself and then fly back up to heaven where he once started. So, yes, it's all part of Jesus's plan. So, whenever a child dies from leukemia at like age 2 or 3, and some asshole says it's okay, it's all part of God's plan, just know God's plan also was sacrificing himself and coming back to life and then floating away and then never showing back on earth again. So that's what we're dealing with here. But moving on, this podcast is going to be pretty low key. I'm not going to talk any news. I'm not going to talk any sports. This is going to be a personal Angelo episode. Plus, I'm going to talk about a podcast that I listened to that blew my mind. We're also going to talk about some music that I've listened to the last couple weeks. First off, we're going to start off with fixing, or at least addressing, my last episode where I was talking about my SexyTime fun with my Brazilian lady friend. Let's call her Bernadette. She was unhappy that I did not go into detail on the last podcast. She was not upset that I talked about it. No, 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 no. Far from it. She actually talked to me before I recorded the last episode saying, "Oh, I can't wait to hear it." And I joked with her about, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to go into all the juicy, juicy details." But I wasn't really, you know. I never know how people that I'm involved with at any given time are going to react if I'm openly talking about them. Obviously, I changed the names to protect any kind of pushback that could occur. But upon listening to the last episode, she's like, "Hey, you didn't talk about anything. You just said that it was great sex. Let's go into detail." So I said, "Hey, if you want to go into detail, I can go into detail." First off, she wanted me to make sure I mentioned that she had trouble walking both times that we had sex in a good way, that it was the best feeling she's ever felt in involving sex. Best sex she's ever had, by the way. She made sure to tell me that multiple times during and afterwards. Her lower side went numb a few times, all in good. And whenever she would tell me this during and after, I felt, "Oh shit, did I go too far? Did I hurt you? Oh, no, 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 it was pleasurable. I loved it. It was great. Don't change it, blah, 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 blah." And again, this isn't me trying to talk myself up. I'm honest and open here, people. I think I've proven that through 100, or more so than 100 episodes. I don't mince words. I don't cloak myself. I don't wear a mask, so to speak. And I'm an open book. Freedom of speech. This is what we're fighting for. But yes, she told me that this was the first time she had sex in over, what did she say? 2 years, 1.5 years, something. It was pretty long. But she said this was by far the best sex she ever had. And I'm her first white boy that she ever had sex with. In fact, I was the first white boy she swiped yes on a dating app. So, you know, I'm doing a lot for Brazilian white boy relations. By the way, this is not the first time that a woman of color has told me You were the first white boy that I swiped yes on. You were the first white boy I kissed, fucked, whatever. I had my doubts, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, you deserve to have your doubts because of, history. You have the right to judge. We have earned that designation. And let's face facts. We are perceived as being the more boring of people in the bedrooms. Whenever you think of great lovers throughout history, you probably don't think of many slightly overweight, bearded white boys that have a vision problem. With great lovers, you think of Italians, the French, the Spanish, Brazilian. Who else? Any Asians are known for great lovers? I don't know. Maybe Koreans? I don't know. I don't know what designation great lovers of Asia. I don't know what nationality that would be. I know Indians have the Kama Sutra, but are they known for being great lovers? You never hear about it. You never hear about Eastern Europeans. Well, the men, the women. Wow! Don't get me started on Eastern European women. Ooh. But yeah, back to me. I have been told by multiple sexual partners, not a lot, I'm thinking maybe 5 or 6, that not only was the sex amazing with me, but it was the best they ever had. And I just thought they were whispering sweet nothings in my ear the first couple times I heard it, but the more I've heard it, the more I have to learn to accept such a compliment. Which is strange for me not to openly accept compliments because I'm usually pretty good and humble about it. However, when it comes to anything sexual, I kind of get a little puritanical, a little cagey. And that's still probably remnants of the religious trauma that I had to deal with growing up. I still view it as something that is romantic and personal and special and all of those things. And obviously I can talk openly about it to some people and to some extent on the podcast, but when it comes to praise or getting a spotlight for my sexual prowess, I still kind of get nervous and anxious, and I don't believe it. I shoo it away. I think they're lying to me. I think they're just being nice, But I always say that. I'm like, oh, you're just being nice. You don't really mean it. You don't have to lie to me. And they say, Angelo, no, I'm not lying to you. That was amazing. That was earth-shatteringly good. In fact, my legs are still shaking. I don't know what to say to that. Like, besides thank you, I don't think I'm doing anything supernatural, I will say probably I'm a product of my environment as a millennial that hit puberty roughly the same time the internet became prevalent everywhere. So I was 12, 13, 14 years old, and I discovered online pornography, which I didn't really get into I would say until maybe sophomore year in high school. So I've kind of had 20 years or so growing up with the advantage of being able to watch professional fuck people on the computer, on the cell phone, whatever. Pornography is no longer something that you have to go watch in a closed room and a shitty TV with, a 3 thrice recorded VHS tape from 1970. Those days are long gone. And it's also, there's no more shame attached to it like it was when I was growing up. Adult actor and actresses were still frowned upon. Now they're celebrated. In fact, they have millions and millions and millions of followers on social media. Some of them have made the jump to non-fuck acting. So yeah, it's in a completely different environment. So I think I kind of got lucky by seeing professionals doing it. I've said it once before, and I'll say it again. When you are watching pornography, you are watching the fucking all-stars. Literally, it's like when you watch the NFL or MLB or FIFA or whatever sport. When we watch the Oscars, and is another example, or if you're watching presidential debates, those people are the all-stars of whatever they're doing. Whether you like him or not, President Joe Biden is the all-star of the Democratic Party because he was chosen to be their leader, and he got elected by the people to lead the United States as our president. So he is the all-star. He is, in essence, he won the Oscar. He made it to the Pro Bowl, the all-star game. When you watch the Oscars, when Will Smith ain't slapping bitches, he is winning the award for Best Actor of 2022 or 21, whenever that movie came out. So that is the All-Star. Everyone who got nominated made it to the Pro Bowl. Same thing with sports. And I know I'm beating a dead horse here with my metaphors, but again, I'm trying to prove the point. When you're on Pornhub or X-Hamster or Motherless, say, hey, no judge, whatever you want to watch, E-fucked, go ham. You are watching the best of the best of the best bump uglies. And I think that it has a adverse effect and it also has a positive effect. The adverse effect is young people assume that that's standard ways of having relations. That is what sex is. It's deep throating. It's dunking a girl's face in the toilet and doing her from behind. It's a guy getting his cock stepped on by stilettos as he screams for more. I mean, that's what they think sex is. I mean, those are the two kinks that just popped into my head. Those are not my personal kinks. I do not like getting stepped on, nor do I like waterboarding bitches in the toilet. I'm not into that. I've talked about what I'm into. I kind of like feet sometimes. The occasional spanking is fun. I don't really like shit being done to me. At least I haven't experienced it yet. I'm not into anything being performed on me. Like, I don't want my asshole licked. I don't want my feet licked. I don't want to be pegged. I don't want to do anything weird, you know. I wouldn't mind doing it to them with their permission, of course. Even role play, I'd get a little dicey. I don't know. We're getting off topic here. So I think I picked up some things from pornography is my point, and coupled that with me working on my self-esteem and my confidence and also my health and my physical look. You combine the two and you become somewhat of a decent lover. And I don't think sex should be a selfish act. I think it's between two people. You both want to get off. You both want to have fun and have the best emotional fuck ride that you can. I have never liked sex where the man begocks first and that's it. And the woman never begocks herself. Personally, I like to make the girl begok a few times before I begook. The last few years, I can honestly say, not just based on firsthand treatment from certain ladies that I've had relations with, but the sex where it's respectful, but it's emotional and it's passionate makes me last longer, makes them enjoy themselves more, and the payoff, so to speak, the gasms, if you will, are much more stronger and powerful and, I mean, I guess emotional. And I'm not trying to preach here. I'm not trying to sound like a Lothario elitist or anything. But I will say, if you have mutual respect, odds are the sex is going to be damn good. Now, I haven't always had great sex in the last few years. Sometimes it is kind of going through the motions, which I think is normal, especially if you're in a committed relationship for a long period of time. It's not going to be as passionate and blazing as it once was. But I think you can still keep it interesting. And you can always try new things to spice it up, so to speak. But I have been told by, just off the top of my head, at least 5 women the last few years about just how exhilarating, amazing, and, it uplifts spirits, which is crazy to me still to hear because in my 20s, I was such a nervous wreck when it came to women and especially when it came to SexyTime. I can remember vividly a few times where I was so excited to get to this point. I'm undressing her, we're kissing, we're grabbing each other. She's grabbing my wang, I'm grabbing her hoo-hoo. We're having a good time. But when it came down to put up or shut up, I would get that puritanical feeling again. I would feel guilty. I would judge. I would feel shame. And I hadn't even stuck it in or put a condom on or anything. And it ruined the mass majority of my sexual experiences for the first couple years of my life with sex, if that makes any sense. You know, I felt like I could have lost my virginity, for example, a lot sooner than I did. I had a few women literally throw themselves at me. Oh, they literally were out on the tarmac with those flashing bright lightsaber cones and trying to back me into their cooch. And I was just saying, well, I don't know. There's wind turbulence. We're running late. There's hail. I don't know if I can land. you come up with excuses. I mean, I can think of a number of women. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that when I finally did have sex, I believe I was 19, which I consider to be late in this day and age to lose the virginity. It used to really bother me. Now that I'm a little wiser, I can say, well, I wasn't ready to have sex at 16, at 15, at 17 or 18. 19 is when I lost it. Therefore, I was meant to lose it at 19. I remember my first time. It was awful. And I feel so bad for that poor woman who had to put up with my tears and crying and woeing to God about things. I mean, God damn. I mean, I shouldn't take the Lord to him in vain in Easter, but fuck him. He fucked me. I can fuck him too. And so, yeah, I really did not get comfortable with my body and my emotions and my spirituality when it came to sex until, God damn, until I moved out on my own. And I went through that couple year stretch of really focusing on my mental and emotional health. And I'll be damned if it followed me to my sexual health. Now I have no problem getting it up. Sometimes it's up too long. Bernadette told me, have you still not begocked? She did not say begock. She had said some Portuguese word, which I do not remember. I'm not trying to put myself up on a pedestal here. I'm just doing what I've been told to do by my lady friend Bernadette. So I'm going into deep examples here. And so if you're a male listener who's thinking, you know what, Angelo's making a lot of sense. I wish I could bang a little bit like him. I wish I could take a lady to Pound Town population 2. Well, my opinion is this. If you do have issues performing, or it may not be a physical performance issue, it could be something mental or emotional, or God help you, spiritual. I can't really tell you what's going to work. All I can tell you is what worked for me was spending time by yourself working on those issues, acknowledging past traumas, trying to figure it out, and moving forward, trying to work on the things that are hindering you in that department. With me, obviously it was my physical appearance. I thought I was ugly as a motherfucker. And it's only been recently have I been able to look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? When women tell you that you're very attractive and they get mad when you push back on their compliments, from now on, just try accepting their compliments. And I started to do that. And you know what? My self-esteem went up because I started to listen to their truths instead of just judging them as liars or just being nice. They're just saying it because they're emotional. They're just saying it because they're women and they don't have as big as brain as men do. But you have to learn to accept the opposite of criticism. I think, I can't speak broad here, but at least with me, and I would imagine there's a lot of people in my generation that feels like this, it's easier for us to accept criticism than it is to accept compliments. We really are children of boomers because it's the opposite with our parents. If your parent is a boomer, again, I try not to be ageist, but it pours out of me sometimes. You try critiquing a boomer on anything, oh, it is a personal attack. You try to compliment them, and they will tell you, oh, I know, thank you for noticing. But yeah, so I think all that comes into play. And it's tough. You have to kind of bring down your own personal Berlin Wall and learn to accept what people are telling you. Because you know what? Even if they are full of shit and lying, so be it. If it makes you feel good, accept it. Don't let yourself lose reality and start to believe in made up nonsense. But if you're being told the same thing by multiple people over a large time frame, then the odds of them all bullshitting you for the same reasons are pretty small. You have a better chance of catching COVID and dying. Learn to accept the compliments. And if you don't like accepting compliments, look into yourself and find out why. I personally know why it was hard for me to take compliments. And now when I receive one for anything, but since we're talking about fucking, I can tell you, well, I can now understand why they tell me this because I have worked on myself in that department. And therefore, my game has gotten better. I mean, I have had women tell me that they've never orgasmed before until with me, which I find so sad. I feel like women should have an orgasm every other day. Everyone should orgasm at least 3 to 4 times a week, just for your own sanity. I've had women say they can't walk, they feel numb, they feel like they need a wheelchair. And I used to hear those things and think, oh man, I need to lose weight. They're saying I'm so fat, I'm hurting them. And they're like, no, not at all. This is all good. I'm like, oh, so I'm not so fat that I'm crushing you. Kind of like how Jabba the Hutt was going to do with Princess Leia. I'm like, no. And you're not fat. All these things. Yeah. It's kind of a shock to me to be praised for something that I used to feel so much shame for. And I think moving forward, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And yeah, if you have questions, look into yourself. Talk to your partner if you have one. See what you can do. And if you're single like me, and you're just not having any luck with women or men, if that's your preference, to each their own, I can't imagine it's wildly different. If you have low self-esteem issues, if you have insecurities, it's going to carry over into the bedroom. Unless you're a goddamn psychopath. And all you care about is that nut. Or you can put a mask on during sex and then be someone completely different out of sex, which means you probably got to work on that, because why are you two completely different people? I like to think I'm the same person during, before, and after SexyTime. There's no difference. I have broken up with some ladies that I think wanted to stay friends with benefits, but I'm just not good with that. I still have to have a connection or a vibe with a lady to have sex. I have turned down sex many times during the same stretch of time because I just didn't feel it. I remember one particular example. This girl invited me over to her house. So I was like, well, this is probably going to happen, but let's not assume anything. But because she was so nervous and anxious, because this is the first, guy that she's brought home in a long time. And I said, well, no pressure. We don't have to do anything. Let's just sit on the couch, have a glass of wine, and watch TV. And I meant it. I think that's something else too. Don't play mind games. And that's something men and women, we have a real issue on that, because I'm honest, I'm truthful, and it gets picked up. I've also been praised for that by most of my lady friends, is that how honest and open and truthful I am. I don't lie. I don't play mind games. I don't say one thing and try to mean another. I don't say, we don't have to do anything, and then 30 seconds I'm trying to shove my tongue in their mouth. I truly, honestly mean it when I say, we don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I certainly don't want to put you in an uncomfortable position, because if they're suffering, I'm going to suffer. You can call it being selfish or what, but I want it to be mutual. Call me woke, call me equality, whatever. I personally have a hard time having sex with someone that I can tell kind of doesn't want to, or kind of wants to, but only because I want to. It's just not worth it. I'd rather pass on it. So with this particular example, I could tell how nervous and anxious she was, and I kept telling her, let's just watch TV. I can take off at 8 o'clock, and we can chit chat later. It's not that big of a deal. I don't have to have sex. I can go home and nut on my own. But I think that did calm her down a little bit, but she had a few glasses of wine and she got pretty loopy, she didn't get loopy. She got pretty shit-faced, to be honest. And then she tried being very aggressive with me, and I told her, I don't want to have sex with you when you're this drunk. I was not drunk, by the way. I wasn't even tipsy. I was hitting my vape pen a little bit, but that's unimportant. And she said, no, I really want to have sex now. Let's do it. And she took her clothes off, and I didn't feel right. I didn't feel good. I kind of felt like I was taking advantage. And I remember kind of pushing her off me and saying, no, this isn't right. We can do it another time when you're not drunk, when the mood's right. And she was kind of shocked about it. The next day, she was so apologetic. She was apologizing to me for everything. I said, no, you don't have to apologize. Please don't. Please don't. You were nervous. You were anxious. This is normal. You're about to have sex for the first time to a guy that you've been seeing for a week or two. It's going to be nerve-wracking the first time. It always is. So I don't look down on you or judge you at all. And she thought, oh my God, I thought you wanted to break up with me. I was going to break up because I feel so shameful. I said, no. No. And I think that helped, because when we saw her again, it was much more comfortable. She was not shit-faced. It was like it was meant to be. It was much more natural. Ultimately, the relationship didn't work out for other reasons, but, that's something I think men and women can understand from this story, is you don't have sex because you feel obligated to, particularly women. Guys, I don't think you know how fucking brutal women have it out there. I mean, when you walk down the street, you're not getting eye fucked by everyone you see. If you're a woman, you walk down the street, every guy is looking at you as a sexual being, a sexual object. You may call us chauvinistic, you may call us sexist, whatever. I am saying it's genetic, it's biological. I cannot help it. I look at a woman from like, a 60-year age gap. It doesn't fucking matter. I will look at a woman. My first thought is sex, naked body. What do her tits look like? What does her legs look like? I can't help it. I can't help it. I will say that the thought only lasts maybe a second or two before I'm like, oh yes, this is a person with hopes and dreams. And who knows, maybe they have STDs. I don't know. So let's just cool it here. And for the love of God, guys, if you're at a business, no matter where it is, and if it's a waitress or a barista or an assistant at your dentist office, and a girl is smiling at you and being nice, odds are she does not want your cock in her mouth. In fact, she doesn't want your cock anywhere near her. More than likely, 99.9% of the time, I feel like that is true. Just because a girl is nice does not constitute flirting. I know this because, again, to shit on the boomers, I have seen that mistake happen time and time again with my father, with my grandfather, with my uncles, with my cousins. It doesn't matter. We go to a bar, we go to anywhere, we go to the bank, and a girl is nice or just doing her job with a smile. And I've heard my father, I've heard my uncle's cousin say, oh man, that girl, I think she wants to fuck me. Oh, I would like to bend her over. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Or she's just trying to get through her fucking day and doesn't want to get bothered by creepy Magoo right now. Anyways, what I'm trying to say in this half-hour rant here is, I'm good at sex. You're welcome. If you want to have sex with me, I don't know. I have some pretty high standards these days. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, let's move on to some other fun stuff here. I watched an amazing podcast last night. It was episode 195 of the Lex Friedman podcast. His guest on this episode was Clara Sousa Silva. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that name. The title of the podcast is Searching for Signs of Life on Venus and Other Planets. Clara Sousa Silva is a quantum astrochemist at Harvard, and she wrote her PhD on spectroscopic networks and biosignature gases, the big one being phosphine gas. It's related to phosphorus, but it's phosphine gas. And there is a part on this 2-hour podcast where they are talking about the possibility of life on other planets. They both acknowledge that the way that alien life has been presented to us, the odds of it happening are very, 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 very low. In fact, it's almost preposterous to believe that alien life would resemble ET or, Martians as we've seen. You know what I'm talking about? Green people, gray people, flying saucers, all that bullshit. That's not what it is. That's all been kind of made up for, obvious reasons, make money. That's what makes the world go. And so they were talking about, well, it's probably going to be something like single cell organisms or maybe a fungus or a mushroom, something to that equivalent. The odds of us meeting another humanoid species or a race of giant green giraffes, it's just, it's low. That's Marvel, that's DC, that's Hollywood. That's not reality. But I'm not going to go into specifics about all that. But they were talking about the idea of, with measurement tools getting better in terms of telescopes, in terms of measuring on the light spectrum, what kind of gases and chemicals are on certain planets and moons. And, as that technology grows, you're going to be able to determine life on other planets much more easily. And she was giving an example of, on one of her theses, she wrote that the possibility of life in Venus is slightly higher due to the discovery of some of these phosphine gases. And the phosphine gases, just to give a very butchered summary, I'm going to sound like a real tard here, real Franks and beans, but let me attempt it. Phosphine gas is a naturally occurring element that boggles the human mind because it actually kills the qualities that go into making life, whether that be hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. I think I just said nitrogen twice. I did just hit a joint before I started recording. I'm smoking the Juggernaut strain, and oh baby, who is this? Oh, Gold Leaf. Oh shit, this is a Gold Leaf joint? Ah, damn, I'm gonna treasure this one. Gold Leaf makes some diddy dank dank. Anyway, so this natural occurring element is extremely rare, but it kills elements that you need to support life. And life, from a scientific perspective, does not kill without needing to be so. If that makes any sense. Like in the wild, for instance, all deaths serve a purpose, so there's a reason why. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't, all these animals just don't die for no reason at all. And so there's a logical explanation, a scientific explanation, if you will, about how elements react, how they behave. So the fact that this element is created naturally in life, but it also kills the very elements, the foundational elements that are needed to create and to support life, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, the point being, wherever there is life on this planet, they find trace elements or very small elements of this phosphine gas. So what the fuck? Who cares, right? Why are you just blithering, Angelo? What does this have to do with anything but life on other planets? Well, if it's everywhere where there's life here, odds are it's going to be on other planets where there's life. So let's try to detect it. She found a way of detecting it, and guess what? There is elements of it currently and in the past on Venus. Now, obviously, Venus is not Mars. You can't land rovers on there. You can't land satellites there. You just can't, because it just gets burnt up. You can't send a manned mission over to Venus currently with the technology we have. So it's incredibly hard to prove this. And she was very open, Clara Souza Silva, by saying, I am not saying there's life on Venus. I'm just saying that there is trace elements about the possibility of past or present life. But she said, really, we were able only to look at like 4% of this data that we need. So even 4% leaves 96% of doubt. But 4% is still 4%. And of that 4%, it's even something like 10% or less of that 4% would they be able to actually evidence for life on Venus. And then they go into, if there is such life, you can't really do much with it. She's the proponent of just kind of watching it, maintaining, do what you can, but don't interfere. Because much like the white people did to indigenous people here, if we try to pick up something or if we touch down on Venus, we're going to leave trace elements like disease. It could wipe out that life unintentionally. So it's better to be hands off. And she was going into some Hollywood movies. Like, it's so nonsense when you see someone landing on a planet for the first time and they're just walking around breathing in air. No sense to, like, they could be contaminating everything. There's no way of knowing the air that astronaut is breathing isn't doing something wildly insane to our internal organs, because we don't know. It was just an amazing, illuminating podcast up to that point. And then this is what blew my mind. This is what's taking me fucking 15 minutes to set up here. Jesus, Angelo, get to the point. Is that she said, if this is all true and if this works and we discover that there is life on other planets in our own solar system, even if it's single cell organisms, even if it's algae or fungi or mushrooms, whatever, even if we find life on other planets, life then goes from nowhere to everywhere by that designation. And I had to think about, like, what do you mean? Like, life goes from nowhere and then suddenly it's everywhere. And I think that was such a shock to me, because you literally have to reset your brain by saying Earth is not the only planet in our own solar system that can support life. Let's just say, for example, they find life on the Saturn moon Titan, or Prometheus. Is that the other planet? I'm drawing a blank. I'm mixing up movies and real life again. Ugh, it's like when I thought I was Rambo. But if there's life on Titan, under those circumstances, then there's going to be life guaranteed in millions of other solar systems. So therefore, life then started from nowhere, just us, meaning it's just us. life is special. Life is just us. It's rare. It's not just rare, but it's nowhere. There's nowhere where there's life except on Earth. You go from that belief, which most people believe, to, oh, well then, now that we've determined how to detect life and prove it on Titan, and there is millions of planets that we know of that are just like this set up here in Titan and our solar system. There is, do you know how many, let's just cool it for a sec. Do you guys know how many planets there are in the observable universe? Things that we know this to be true. Science has proven this. It's not like a few thousand or a few million. There is over 100 billion planets in the Milky Way alone. So just think about that. So that means in the cosmos, there's over 3 trillion planets. And so our solar system, the Milky Way, let's back up. So yes, our solar system, just, our little sun and our 9 planets. I never remember if Pluto is a planet or not. No, there's 12 planets in our solar system, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But our solar system is not unique and special. There is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, possibly millions of other solar systems like ours. Same setup, same size star, same planets that are furthest away that have a buffer like Venus, so that you have the possibility of water, because why wouldn't there be? And if we were already living in a society, in a world, in a life where we've discovered life on another planet within our own solar system, well, then we know that then it has to exist. Not only does it have to, but it does exist. And how many other solar systems and how many other planets? It's incalculable. So therefore, life goes from nothing to everywhere. And what does that do? What does that do? What does that mean? What does that do to your mental state? To me, my head exploded. But, again, this has not been proven, but that's the idea. That is the theory. But it makes a lot of sense. If there's trillions of planets and billions of solar systems, then yes, the chances are we're not special. We've never been special. Life, in essence, is not that special. You go from one planet with life to millions or billions of planets with life, as we define it. Now, I could foresee in this made-up scenario that I have hazily and stonedly created in my mind just now, is that I don't believe organized religion would fail. I don't think suicides would go up. I don't think nihilism would spread across the world. I don't believe in any of this. I think some people would choose not to believe it. There's just people, for example, that still do not believe in the Holocaust. They do not believe in global warming. They don't believe that the earth is round. They don't believe that there's birds. There's people that believe Trump won the election. So you're never going to reach some people. I think there will be a level of ambivalence. I believe not most, but some people would be like, well, who the fuck cares? I'm an atheist, or I'm agnostic about most things anyways. So this is meaningless to me. I think I would be in the third camp, which would be somewhat excited, somewhat wowed. It would take me a while to get used to this new understanding of reality, but I feel like I would be excited. I really would be. And I could not wait for the next discovery. And then I started to think about religion, because my mind always goes to religion. How would religious people react? And I think you would have the same kind of 3 types of people. You would have religions or sects of religion outright disbelieve it, fight against it, rage holy war against it. There's other religions that will probably accept the news and then kind of update their teachings with whatever. Maybe certain Christians would say, well, okay, then that means every one of those planets that have life also have their version of the Bible. They have their own version of creation. And there could be other religions that would say, okay, well, then that means God, this is just one of his creations, is planet Earth. He also has created many other Earths. And then that would form its own religions and cults and teachings, whatever. And then I think you would have the third sect of people that would just be like, well, who the fuck knows? But do you feel comfortable doing what we have been doing for thousands of years with organized religion? Should we just keep it up and maybe occasionally address that there's life on other planets, and maybe we just don't make a big deal about it? We still talk about Jonah and Noah and Job and everybody. Are we okay with that? Huh? You still want to hear about Daniel and the lion and David and his brothers? Okay, let's keep talking. And that's what I think what would happen. I don't think there would be just mass chaos, I guess, because it's not like we were discovering an incoming spaceship that's going to wipe us out. I mean, that would be a whole other wild scenario. But part of that podcast, going back to the Friedman podcast, is that they were discussing, well, what would life look like? Could you actually have extraterrestrials coming into our planet and interacting with us? And I'm not going to go too much into it because I feel like I've blathered on too much already. A 2-hour podcast, my recap is going to be 6 hours. But she was explaining how no, just the travel to get from their solar system to ours would not be worth the trip. And that's all I'll say about that. I strongly recommend that you check out that episode of Lex Friedman. And let me go back so I can double check the episode again, because like I said, that juggernaut joint is really making me cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It is episode 195 with Clara Souza Silva. And with that, I think we're done covering that podcast and the hypotheticals of the universe and the cosmic wonders of life, and talk about some good music that I've been listening to. Who's ready to talk about some diddly dank music? I'm going to talk about some albums that I've been listening to the last few weeks, and I'll go into some singles here. The first album that I've been listening to is the new Orville Peck. The album is Bronco. It came out in early April. Now, you kind of have to like alternative music, alt country, I would say a little bit of Americana, definitely some indie rock in there. He has a voice that's from 3 generations prior. I mean, he literally sounds like a country music singer from the, who was that jabroni that kind of started it all? Hank Williams. I almost said Ted Williams, but that was the racist baseball great who froze his head after he died because he wanted to come back to life when he would be on an android body, much like that anti-Semite Walt Disney. But Orville Peck's Bronco, you have to kind of like, for better or worse, alternative or indie country music. If you don't like it, you're not going to like it. If you like synthwave, hip-hop, R&B, soul, it's not for you. But if you like just good music, check out Bronco by Orville Peck. And I would say probably the best song on that album, in my opinion. I really liked Come On Baby Cry. That was a good song. God, this album is pretty tight. It's a long album. There's 15 songs, but it's under an hour. My only nitpick on the album is that he doesn't really have a jam session song. I like the occasional song on an album that are going to go 7 to 8, 9 minutes long. A jam sesh, I could light a J, I could take my shirt off, I could just start dancing. That's what I want. And this album did not give it to me. But out of a 15-track album, I would say at least 10 of the songs are really good. And of that 10, I would say 5 are excellent. So check out Bronco, Orville Peck. Moving on to the other album, it is the new Father John Misty, Chloe in the Next 20th Century. This one's a little mixed. I know what he's trying to do on this album. He's trying to do something new. He's trying to be like one of those 1970s washed up lounge singers. That's what he's kind of going for. But I will say, gimmicks aside, it's a pretty decent album. I'm very anxious, but also excited when one of my favorite musicians tries something new. For instance, Fleet Foxes tried something new. It didn't work out. They went back to what worked. My Morning Jacket, same thing. But every now and then you get someone like LCD Sound System or Pearl Jam or who's another one? Daft Punk, where they continuously try different things and they, more often than not, hit it out of the park. Father John Misty's trying something here, and I got to give him credit. Out of an 11-song album, 4 or 5 are good, and that 5th one's iffy, only because this is not an album that, to me, has high replay value. Not because it's not good, but just that it's kind of meh, and some of the songs are sad as fuck. But the songs that you can listen to again and again, like Chloe, the opening track, Goodbye, Mr. Blue, and what's the other one? Funny Girl. I almost was going to mention, is it the We Could Be Strangers song or Olvidado? There was another song that I was 50-50 on. The Next 20th Century, that's an excellent song. That's an excellent song. If Father John Misty ever releases a greatest hits, that song better fucking be on there. It probably won't get a lot of love being the last song on the album, but in terms of lyrics, in terms of song production, everything, his voice, ooh baby, Father John, he knocked it out of the park with that one. One of my favorite songs on the album, if not the favorite, because it is the jam session song, baby. It's almost 7 minutes, just a hair under 7, but you know what? 6 minutes and 56 seconds, I'll take it. So, not as good as the previous album, which I already forgot what it was because I hit that juggernaut again, and it is. Woo, it is strong. Oh, the Orville Peck. Not as good as Orville Peck. And moving on to the last one is the new Kurt Weill album, Watch My Moves. Not as good as I hoped, but it has a few good songs. This album is kind of a big one, 15 tracks, and it's over an hour and 10 minutes long. It's pretty long. However, out of 15 long-ass tracks, I only say 5, maybe 6 songs, not even half. But of those 6 songs, I would say 3 are bangers. And of those 3, 2 are going to appear in my top bangers list, which I only put the best songs known to man on that playlist. Sure, it has a couple thousand, but I'm not that picky. But then I have another playlist called Top Shelf Bangers. That's where I take the best songs from the top bangers list and I filter that baby. I filter it like fine coffee. Ooh, the best of the best. And shit gets kicked out all the time. Shit gets put in. I forget about things. And then I'm like, I don't even remember why I put the song on there. And then I delete it. And then I hear that song in another playlist. And I'm like, oh, Christ, I love the song. Add it back to the top shelf playlist. But I have a rule. It has to stay under 500 tracks. By the way, how many tracks are in there now? I say that. Watch it. I open it and it has like 1,000 songs. But anyway, Watch My Moves, Kurt Weill. Okay, it's just okay. Flying Like a Last Train's a good song. Like Exploding Stones. Mount Airy Hill. Hey Like a Child is a damn good song. But then it gets a little fucking out there, and it's kind of a goofball album. But you know, Kurt does it every now and then. I can call him Kurt because I'm on a first name basis with him. I've liked him for at least 2 years of his 20-year career, or however long he's been around. But let me take a look here. Oh my God, I'm gonna be so pissed if I open up that top shelf bangers and there's over 500 songs. All right, prove me right. Prove my hubris right. How many tracks? It's taking a little while to load. That's not a good sign. Wait a minute. Why isn't it telling me? Oh, the suspense is killing me. Oh my God, it's exactly 500. Oh wait, the page loaded some more. Oh fuck, I was way off. There's 564. Okay, it's staying under 600. God dang it. Anyways, and then just some singles that I've heard in passing. The album isn't out yet, or the album wasn't that good, but the single is. I will say Close Your Eyes by Bic Runga. Damn good song. Sam Smith's version of I Feel Love. Damn, I've been playing that nonstop. Jim James, and again, one of my favorite musicians. No Secrets. That's not even a new song. It's from like 2018 or some shit, or maybe even older. And I just heard it on the radio. And I thought, oh shit, new Jim James. Oh shit, this song is already 5 years old. Where was I? Damn good song. No Secrets by Jim James. I've been playing that more than I've been playing Sam Smith's I Feel Love. But I play No Secrets so fucking much. I know the lyrics by heart now. Let's see. I'm a little sucker here for pop music, but I will say the Big Energy remix with Lotto and Mariah Carey with DJ Khaled yelling obscenities in the background. Pretty damn good song. It's so stupid, but me, a 90 kid, me like Mariah Carey. Me really like Mariah Carey while I go through puberty where I touch myself. So I will always have a special place in my penis's heart for Mariah Carey. I will also give big props to the upcoming Arcade Fire. Ooh, I've heard only 2 tracks. The Lightning 1 and the Lightning 2. Oh, both songs. I mean, if you like Arcade Fire, you're going to love these songs. They made me feel young again. I love Arcade Fire. Some of the best years of my life listening to that band. Oh, they got to be up there. They have to be. Definitely, if I have to say contemporary music, to me, meaning since the 2000s, they have to be top 5, if not top 3. I don't know who I love as much as them. Ah, man, War on Drugs is extremely high, but Arcade Fire's been around longer. What else? There's a couple new Vitalik songs off the Dissidents album. Now, Vitalik is, dance music, electronic music. So, again, you want to take your clothes off and dance around the kitchen to it. I would check out Rave Against the System. And the other song is Hout Definition, but Hout is spelled all fucky. So just look up New Vitalik. I'm not going to spell words to you. And I think I talked about the Bob Moses album. That's the last time I talked music on this podcast, I think, was when The Silence in Between came out. That is probably still my favorite album of the year. Actually, there is no question that is my favorite album of the year. But I do need to listen to the Orville Peck some more, the Father John Misty some more, and the new Kurt Weill just a little bit more. But anyway, with that, I think we're done with music. And Jesus, this podcast is running long. Oh, I started 2 shows that I've been dying to start, and they were so good. I started Tokyo Vice and Outer Range. Both series, starting off, the first 2 episodes at least, have been dynamite. 8s out of 10s. I will say I'm more nervous about Outer Range turning into a crock of shit because they're biting off a lot with this show. This plot is wild. If they could pull off this wild idea for a plot, it's going to be held in very high esteem to me. But what I think is more likely is they bit off more than they could chew, and it's going to kind of be like the finales of some of our other great shows. Now, I'm not calling Outer Range the next whatever, but I'm just saying good starts, wildly good starts, usually fizzle out. And I think of Lost, I think of Game of Thrones, but again, I'm not calling Outer Range the same quality as Game of Thrones and Lost, but that's what I think. You catch what I'm saying? It's the M. Night Shyamalan effect, whatever. But Tokyo Vice, I don't see how it's going to end poorly. That show is so good, so good. Oh, it's in fact, I can't wait for the next episode. But Outer Range, equally good, but in a different way. I think there's more holes, and I can critique Outer Range more so than Tokyo Vice. Like, as a show, there's no question Tokyo Vice is way better. Like, it's just better made. But I think Michael Mann has something to do with Tokyo Vice. So, Michael Mann's one of the better directors. I don't know who does Outer Range. But anyway, if Outer Range has that payoff that I'm hoping they do, then I will say, okay, well, Outer Range is something special. Because I think they're only going to do a limited series. This ain't going to be something where they're going to do season 2 and 3. I mean, Josh Brolin is such an amazing actor in his own right. The fact that he was okay with doing an Amazon Prime series is credit to the quality of the show. So far, I'm only 2 episodes in. Only 2 in, but I think they're only going to do 8 or 10 episodes. I don't fucking know. Anyway, check out those 2 shows. I was excited about both, and deservedly so. But with that, I think we're going to move on to reading my journal, which I haven't done in months on this podcast, or it feels like months, but I may have to make it quick because I think we're running out of time here. So let's skidoo. Now, I haven't done a reading from my journal in, God, it feels like an eternity. So just for those that don't know, back in the day, I used to read a journal entry from this digital app I have on my phone. Usually I'm in bed half asleep and stoned, and I have a crazy idea, or I am watching a movie or a documentary or some shit, and it inspires me. So I say, oh shit, get it in the journal and read it on the podcast. But as my longtime listeners know, I'm kind of a space cadet. All right, let's see here. I did hit that joint a little bit because I saw that the Mariners won. I don't remember the last time we took a series from the Houston Astros, but we just did it. But anyway, let's see. What is the first entry here? Now, again, I have not seen these in months. I do not plan these. I literally just open the app, read it out loud, and I just wing it from there. Oh, let me do the jingle. It's time for Angelo's Journal. This jingle is not as good as I remember. Let me try another one. It's time for Chugga Chugga Chugga, Angelo's Journal. Chugga Chugga Chugga, what's it gonna be? Chugga Chugga Chugga, is it gonna be? Chugga Chugga Chugga, entertaining. Chugga Chugga Chugga, probably not. And then a guitar. Wow, wow, wow. All right. The number one movie in the country when I was born was The Fly. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, I do remember looking that up. David Cronenberg's The Fly. Wait, is that David Cronenberg? Son of a bitch. Jeff Goldblum? That's not David Cronenberg, is it? God damn it, I opened up Snapchat, not IMDb. What the hell? Who directed The Fly? I'm pretty sure it was Cronenberg. Oh, I'm going to sound like a real Franks and Beans here if I'm wrong. But then again, I've been wrong so much on this podcast, so why should I apologize now? Yeah, just this podcast. David Cronenberg, I will never apologize again. I will never doubt myself again. I always doubt myself on these old-ass movie references. How many times, people, have I said on this podcast, I'm probably wrong, and I look it up and I'm proven right? Jesus, I have to stop doubting myself. Anyway, that's cool. I really like The Fly. It's a really awesome movie. It's a classic. I love Jeff Goldblum. I love Gina Davis. They're both hot as fuck in that movie. Awesome. Awesome. So that was the number one movie in the country when I was born. The number one song was Papa Don't Preach by Madonna. Dude, another banger. I wish I could play it, but YouTube will kick it off. Papa Don't Preach. Do I know that? I know the song. I know the song, but do I know the tune? I vaguely have this in the back of my head. Like, is that the chorus I hear? Or am I thinking of like another Madonna song or a Paula Abdul song or a Janet Jackson song? Papa Don't Preach. No, that was Phil Collins. Nope. But that's cool. All right, so The Fly and Papa Don't Preach. Jesus, I wish I could play Papa Don't Preach right now, but I guess I will after the podcast. So here's what you could do after this podcast. Go ahead and listen to the song. All right, I wrote Twerkin' on the Bidet. Twerkin' on the Bidet. Jesus, I don't know what I was thinking there. Twerkin'. Well, first off, that's how old this journal entry is. People don't twerk anymore. In fact, they probably weren't twerking for a good 3 years before I wrote that journal entry. Twerking on the bidet. I must have wrote that down as a euphemism or an analogy or something that I have completely forgot about. Twerking on that bidet. Not the bidet, that. Twerking on that bidet. I certainly don't twerk on the bidet. My fat ass sits there, that water hits my asshole, cleans me right out, I feel damn good. I do a little dab on the toilet paper on my little starfish, and I look 99 times out of 100, it's clean. The other one, I have to dab it again, maybe spray a little bit, maybe I had too much dairy or cheese, or you never know. Working on that bidet. Huh. I have no clue. Well, it's getting deleted. I have no idea what it means. I do wish that bidets were more prevalent in American society. When I went back to the office last week and I had to do my business, I kind of got a little elitist and I did a little high-class society sigh. I have to actually wipe my butthole with toilet paper like a peasant. And I really, really, really wanted that bidet. It spoiled me. There's no going back. I can never own a toilet, or at least in the master bathroom, without a bidet. It has changed my life for the better. I did not panic during the great toilet paper Armageddon of 2020 because I had a bidet. I laughed at the fat Americans fighting each other in a Walmart. I sat there with my pants around my ankles and having the bidet turned on high, and I was getting that jet stream of the asshole that was making me feel things that I once thought was homosexual. But you know what? It's not when it's water. And I thought, so this is what it's like to be a king. I bet the White House has a bidet. You know, old man Biden and old man Trump are not good butthole wipers. They're just not. Old men tend not to be. If you don't believe me, go to your grandfather, say, Gramps, this is for a science experiment. Go ahead and pull your pants down. I want to see the insides of your underwear. And if you can look me in the face without bullshitting me, without lying, and tell me that there is not shit stains on Grampy's underwear, I don't believe you, because I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of old men's underwear. Don't ask me why. I don't know why this is what fate has decided to give me, whether it be my grandfather or just old men at my job that lose it and have to take off their underwear during work hours. I don't know. 100% of the time, there was shit stains. If not shit stains, piddle stains, okay? It's just what happens when you get old. There's no shame in it. You know, it's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to you. Why else isn't there adult diapers everywhere? So, what was my point? Oh, yes, the White House has to have a bidet. Because I bet Biden is a better ass wiper than Trump. I bet Trump doesn't even care. I bet Trump walks around with a smelly, itchy, rashy asshole all day because he doesn't bother him. Whatever, I don't wipe my ass. That's what poor people do. I haven't wiped my ass in decades. And yeah, I can't imagine it looks good down there. I'm not saying Biden is much better, but I think Biden at least has the social etiquette and the common sense hygiene to do a little wipe. He may forget to wipe every now and then, but not on purpose. He forgot. He's had Alzheimer's for the last 50 years. I mean, can you imagine being a teenager when Abraham Lincoln died? But if the White House doesn't have a bidet, I mean, get on it. No wonder we're 30 years behind in this country. We don't even have a bidet in the White House. You know what? I'm going to do a generic search. Can you imagine if I type in, is there a bidet in the White House? And there's actually an article saying there is. I am not the first person to type it. It's already been pre-filled in here. Is there a bidet in the White House? What the White House bathrooms taught me about power. That's from Time Magazine in 2017. Ugh. According to the official White House webpage, there are 35 bathrooms in the White House, none of which are public bathrooms. What? This doesn't explain anything. An inside look at the White House pooper. That's from 2011. You know, if any president put a bidet in the White House, it had to be Obama. Trump loves showing off the White House bathrooms. Okay, I mean, is that really worth an article in Newsweek? Jesus. What are the bathrooms like at the White House? Oh, that's from The Independent. Oh, okay, let's take a look here. I'm going to read the whole article. Let's Control F and put bidet. Nothing. No mention of a bidet. So I'm going to take a wild assumption based on one article that I didn't read. I literally just typed in a search function to find the one word that I was looking for, that there is not a bidet in the White House, and we're fucking up again. We have a sky-high military budget. Surely we can afford a few bidets in those 35 bathrooms. And in fact, with our old-ass president, you may want to put a bidet toilet as his actual Oval Office chair. If there's such a thing as a reclining chair with a built-in toilet, you tell me that our last two presidents wouldn't need such a thing. Yeah, if they would have an Oval Office reclining chair, built-in toilet with a bidet attachment, oh my God. Just think of the possibilities of a president with a clear mind and conscience because his asshole is equally clean. But anyway, enough ramblings about presidential assholes. I think we can wrap up here. I love y'all. Take it sleazy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and don't be a cunt. I also want to applaud myself for keeping true and staying true to my word and not talking about the news, not talking about sports. I don't count the 5-second mention about the Mariners beating the Astros as sports news or sports talk. I just said it in passing, so don't give me any of that quibbling nonsense. I told you not to be a cunt, and look what you're making me do. Anyways, peace out. Happy Easter. Happy, what other religions are happening? I know the Muslim faith, is Ramadan happening now? Is that the 30 days of fasting? I think that's Ramadan. Let's see, Ramadan happening now? Yeah, I think it's happening now. Okay, cool. Happy Ramadan, everybody, and Easter. Whatever. Peace out. See you bitches later.